Hey, what's going on everyone? I'm Green Zero and welcome to another Command & Conquer 3 Kane's Wrath video commentary. We have a great game here for you today, and basically I've decided, because of the lack of good replays nowadays and the fact I want to bring more videos, I'm actually going to go back in time to 2009, 2010 and grab some of those games which never got VODs that were quite popular. So only about 1 in every 10, 11, 12 games on the popular replay tab back in those 2 years actually ever got a VOD. I was much more active in watching replays then, so I've seen a fair bit of them. But yeah, there's so much good quality games back there that need videos. This one did have a video by IMOP, but it got removed very shortly after it was posted. Anyway, this game is from July of 2010, and you will recognize it from the top 10 replays of 2010. It was in there. I believe it just snuck in at number 10. If you've been watching my videos there. We have Spectre playing as Nod and WinForFun, which is Technique playing as Blackhand. So we have Spectre and Technique for this first in the series of what I'll just call the archives, because it's kind of, you know, a few years old. I will still be doing current games, but let's jump straight in because you want to see this game right now. There's that beautiful crystal here on Tournament Rift. And here we go. Orange Nod is definitely going to be Spectre. So Spectre on the right hand side here, straight for our racks. If we zip over, we can see WinForFun, aka Technique. Here we go. So he's just gonna go for one engineer and sell off, no flame. Okay, remember this is from 2010, so we might see some strategies we haven't seen in a while. Looks like both sides just gonna go straight for ref. Obviously, no flame units here from Spectre because he's not Blackhand, and he's gonna take this structure and he's gonna get ready to capture his spike now. Yeah, there we go. He's putting it in now and places the ref, getting his $500. Meanwhile, Technique just getting his a few seconds later. He did drop a booby trap though. That's why it was a little bit delayed. He had to run over there and to go through the animation to put the booby trap on there. So that could come into play later on and hurt Spectre. But Spectre didn't really send out any scouts. He's got one going down to the bottom. So does Technique. And if we jump to the middle there, we can see Technique has one down the gut. So Spectre just drafting 2 scouts and Technique drafting 2 scouts as well. So he's going to want to protect his spike there. That's why he's taking the garrison. Nice work there from Spectre. Nice foresight, and he's obviously, because of the lack of scouting and he's against a Nod faction. Really, Nod factions, you got to scout them even if you're a Nod faction. Yeah, because of his lack of scouts, he's built a buggy. Going to go see what Technique is doing, and Technique has bikes coming out now. He's got 2 bikes coming out. He's got another structure queued and just about ready to go. He's already got a buggy out, by the way. Strange War Factory placement, obviously trying to avoid any kind of scouting that Spectre may do with infantry, but of course he's got a buggy. And Technique's just like, well, he's going to see what I'm doing, so I might as well get a free kill on that buggy. But that really kind of paid for itself for Spectre, because if he got jumped by these bikes, and he has 4 of them now, that could have been really painful. And Technique sells off a refinery to get the second harvest. You don't see that very often anymore. Nod players aren't as content to sell off the refinery trick. It is still around, but it was very, very, very prevalent back in 2010. When they did bike rushes, they always did placed another refinery and sold it off, because it's not cost effective, but in the short term it allows you to get more bikes out and allows a smoother transition into the economy. Even though right at the very beginning, in the kind of long term, it's not as good. But wow, I really made that confusing, didn't I? Anyway, Spectre, because of his scouting, he knows it's there. He knows he's got Scorpion tanks. He's like, come at me, bro. And looks like Technique is just going to go around them, I think. What's he doing? I mean, he's got map control with these units here. Spectre has got tank, well, the fastest tank in the game, basically. But it's still no match to outrun these units here. Takes a swing at the MCV, does a little bit of damage. He's just going to go around, take a swing at these scouts. I mean, if he takes a scouting squad out, which he definitely could do, he could just destroy the spike. I mean, he's got to be doing something with those. He doesn't want to just commit and lose them, because that would leave Spectre very much in a great position. But Spectre, I mean, he did force tanks out of Spectre, so he had to build 3 Scorpion tanks. So he's got 1, 2, 3. He's got 5 and 2. He's got the ratio he would like on this map. And Technique, I can see over the other side, is actually taking a swing at this MCV. And he should be able to put some serious damage on that. Spectre now responding with his 3 tanks, but he's going to lose about half the health on that MCV and force some repairs out. So Spectre's going to have to pay to repair that, which is what he's doing now, down to about 50%. Now back to Technique's economy. He's on 5 and 2. I would imagine it would be slightly behind Spectre's, as well as the base move here would be slightly behind Spectre's, because he went for that selling of the refinery. He does have more units out on the field, but they're fast attack units, and they won't be able to manage. They won't be able to take on this armor here that Spectre has, even though he's got three tanks there. Unless we see some crazy micro from Spectre, not Spectre, Technique. But Spectre has got 5 bikes of his own now. I don't think Technique knows about them. Technique's got a real lack of scouts on the map. massive lack of scouts actually. His bike army is down here. He's got 4 bikes and a buggy. Spectre knows it's there. He's already pulling back. Remember, he has stealth harvesters, whereas Technique doesn't. Although this buggy will detect stealth there, and he knows it's up there, so he knows he's got to run, and these tanks are going to capture these guys over here. He does manage to snipe the tank down. He's got to be careful because the Scorpion tanks by themselves or in pairs can get sniped down. Meanwhile, Spectre gets across the map, and he's going to get a free harvester kill. Technique, you can see he's pulling back immediately with that army. He loses 1 harvester. He's going to respond with some bikes to save the next harvester, and it looks like Spectre might just decide to get out of there. He's like, alright, oh no, he's turning around. He's turning around. And he's going to take a swing at these guys here, and he should be able. I think he's actually going to defeat this army. He's got 2 bikes from it. It's just fire and debris everywhere when bikes collide. You can never tell what happens when bikes collide. It must be so confusing for the players, although they can select their own units and they get their own health bars without the enemies, and they can see exactly how many they have in the console over here. But still, Spectre losing 1 more on the way out there. That was a pretty good trade. I mean, he got a ref, not a ref. He got a harvester, and he forced a sell off of the refinery. I think that was a bit premature there by Technique. I don't think he needed to do that. He does have an expansion down. He's got double ref down there. Nice work there. Spectre has double ref as well, and he's transferred some harvesters over. He's got more Scorpion tanks down here. Got a few infantry forces. Another war factory comes down now. Still transferring harvesters across now. And he's got 1, 2, 3. He's transferring another one there, so he's just left 3 here, which is perfectly fine for the amount of crystal remaining. And still pumping out Scorpion tanks from that top war factory there. But Spectre, he does spot this army. He had a unit that was just got annihilated, and he's going to move. And Technique's going to move his bike army up here. But Spectre has just enough time to reposition his tanks here, and Technique's not going to be too happy to see those Scorpion tanks there. And he's actually going to take his anger out on this poor defenseless power plant with its paper armor. He's like, that'll cost you $500. I mean, why not? Spectre's going to have to pay for that sometime later on because he can't run his base off the power plants he has now. He's going to have to place more. He's actually got 3 down here, so alright, maybe not. He's going for another structure now. It's some kind of tech structure, I think, because it's taking a while to build. It could be another war factory or an operations center. It's always hard to tell what it is when it's building so slowly. I mean, if it's really, really slowly, it's obviously a tech center, but it doesn't have tier 2. And Technique has tier 2, and it looks like Dozer Blaze is on the way because it's definitely not quad turrets. I can tell you that right now. And another war factory out here, so he's going double Scorp tank production here, trying to out-Scorp or counter-Scorp Spectre. Now, this is good for Technique because he's still got this massive army of bikes and buggies as long as he doesn't lose it. That's the important thing. He's actually going to come back and take out this other power plant. He's not going to be impressed to see this infantry here because, I mean, he's only got 4 buggies, and that's not going to be enough to take out all this infantry with all the militants to cloud up or clog up the guns there on the Raider buggies. And he's going to defend that off. Spectre already selling his refinery up there. And there is a tank battle down here. Spectre has crossed the map, and oh man, Technique is caught out. He doesn't have Dozer Blades, and Spectre is just pushing forward. He's got much more tanks here than what Technique does, and Technique is going to get crushed in this attack. Oh, this is devastating. The bikes are coming into support for Technique, but is it going to be enough? Spectre moves out in a nice line formation. A lot of the tanks, there's so much fire and debris there. Look at it all going down. Oh man, I hope you have the 720p on because this looks amazing. Obviously not as perfect as me watching it in game, but it's still pretty crazy. There's a lot of shooting, a lot of killing in the bikes. Looks like there's quite a lot of bikes, but more tanks from Spectre coming out of nowhere up there. And then they're going to come down here, and they should be able to crush what's left of Technique's army. He's almost been pushed right back to his base. He's got his Conyard way out here, obviously. And there we go. Bikes actually pushing back these guys here. Some of them are decoys, and look at that. All the decoys taking the shots. Spectre actually changing his firing on those guys and actually manages to figure out which ones aren't decoys there. But now all the decoys are down. He's got a handful of tanks left, and I guess it's a bit late for the health bars, but you don't really want to see health bars on because it looks so much better without health bars, so much prettier. Microing that tank around the war factory, nice work. Microing that tank again, that's nice work from Technique. And another micro of the tank around. Oh, look at that. Spectre is trying to chase, but no, now he's on a move order and just fire anything. So Technique saved a couple of tanks then by microing them around. That's actually going to cause Spectre to retreat, and you may ask, why isn't he not shooting the construction yard? He doesn't have the time or the units to destroy it before Technique would respond. He might as well destroy these units here. There's actually infantry coming in here from Spectre here. Almost got the names mixed up then. And a war factory placement in a really obscure position. There is a flame unit down here for Technique, and he should be able to kill these units coming out over here. And the Shredder turret cleaning out the rocket units that have crossed the map as well. And Technique will hold on here. Spectre pulling back with his tanks. So no one took the garrison either, so it's still got the booby trap on it. And Technique's going to repair up these tanks. Nice work there. He's got all these ones here in the green. They don't really need repairs. But he has Dozer Blades, And Spectre does have Dozer Blades as well. I didn't notice when they came into effect, but that gives them, obviously, if you're not quite sure, you're not playing along at home, it does them to clear mine, allow them to clear mines, crush heavy infantry, and it gives them additional armor, even though it doesn't say that. It gives them extra armor, so you're going to want to get that. Also, because Spectre is Nod, he can actually get laser capacitors, and that's really going to cripple Technique because he can't. He's Blackhand. Nice work pulling back the damaged tanks there again from Technique. And Spectre's on the move again, but the problem with the move order is he can't focus, and Technique is focusing. He is really focusing and making Spectre pay there. Spectre losing quite a lot of tanks in that engagement, and all these guys still hugging the War Factory there. Now Technique taking some losses, but his Harvesters are under attack. Looks like Spectre just moved straight through, and he's going to take these two Harvesters. They're actually moving away from the enemy tanks. That's probably not a good idea. The Harvesters should have moved towards the friendly tanks, because that would have pulled these tanks in range of Technique's tanks here. It looks like Technique's going to pursue anyway, and he should be able to kill a fair bit of these tanks here. All that small volcano there just splitting up the forces and allowing Technique to pick off those very heavily damaged tanks there. He should be able to get one more before Spectre makes his escape. I think he's going to get out. Oh no, he cuts the corner. I don't think he should have cut the corner. I think he should have taken the back way out down the spikes, because now it looks like Technique with much more tanks than Spectre will be able to crush them, and that's really a big difference in the game. If you have a lot more tanks than your enemy, you can just basically one-shot them down while they're just doing almost no damage in return. And what a Spectre. He's got some reinforcements here, so that's nice. He's still got a decent squadron here. Not the biggest, but look at that, nice work forming them up as well. And he's actually going to push forward. What does Technique have? There's no counter aggression, by the way. All of Technique's bikes were destroyed. And I'm just going to take a quick drink. Oh yeah, these Aussie summers, man. It's like 30 degrees and it's only like November. You just wait until we get to summer. 40. That's Celsius, by the way, for all you Americans out there with your Fahrenheit and your imperial system or whatever it is. But looks like these tanks are going to move through to the middle field. Spectre, nice job securing that. Also, nice job from Spectre to keep his main fields dry, and this field here is dry. He's selling off, managing his economy. Nice work. Technique doesn't have that luxury. He hasn't got as much harvesters. He's only got 2 harvesters down there and 2 harvesters up there on 1 ref. And what's he got over here? Did he sell? There's an engine. He sold his MCV. Oh, Technique, you sold your MCV and now you're engaging again. But how can you have more tanks than Spectre? He has more tanks than Spectre. He's actually going to move in. He's basically sacked all of his base by selling most of it. Doesn't have a tier 2 because we can see the flame units in there. And oh man, Spectre's actually going to be forced back. Spectre's going to be forced back. He needs laser capacitors. I mean, he's got the economy, he's got double ref down here now, so that's a big problem for Technique. Technique needs to make his move now because he actually has numerical superiority. And yeah, it's disadvantage. It's disadvantage for the attacker because they're out of position while the defender is already in position. But he's going to move forward now. I think he's got the forces here to hurt Spectre pretty badly. Shredder turret coming up. This should clear the Cabals. Not that they're going to be a big player in this game or a big influence anymore. Looks like Spectre trying to put down... He puts down an operations and he's got a hand of Nod there, but he's not training anything from it. No rockets coming out. That would really help his tanks here and force Technique to run in for a crush. But no, it looks like he's just going to move forward here. The tanks are stuck up the top corner now, and we can have... Oh, we have Fanatics coming out here. That's actually quite an interesting move from Spectre. We've seen him do this before in a few videos that I've done, and Technique immediately retreating there. The thing is, he can't obviously crush the Fanatics because that's what they want you to do, because they've got explosives around them. And they will, I think because of the splash as well, and see how all the tanks are overlapping, they can actually destroy multiple tanks with one squad here. But as you can see, he immediately stops building those because they're not good in the sense that they can't catch up to the tanks, and they don't have the upgrade research, so that's not going to, I mean, that increases their speed and increases their hit points, and it provides immunity to Tiberium. But that was just basically to force Technique back, who is now forming his tanks up. He's in a bit of a formation move now. And I think he's coming forward. This Blackhand squad is getting shot at, but you can see, oh, throwing the hallucinogenic grenades, but it doesn't work on a single squad, I don't believe. I think it needs to work on groups of infantry there, but he's going to lose those Cabal squads, but he should be able to kill these guys off here in formation, kind of in formation. Formation move, not perfect in Kane's Wrath, but it's good enough. And he's just moving to the edge of the field here, but he can't see the stealth harvesters. He needs a buggy, and here they come. He's got 2 buggies, probably on a separate control group. Spectre has double War Factory here. He must have sold up at home. I'm not going to zip... Yes, I am going to zip over there. I always say I'm not going to go over there, but I do, because this battle is about to heat up. They're about to engage, and Technique is sitting on the tib, and it looks like Spectre has quite a lot of units here. But the Fanatics are in the back. If he runs them forward, oh, they're getting stuck behind the tanks. But the tanks are getting blown up now, and they're running through, but the buggies managed to gun a few of them down. Buggies are all dead, and without any buggies, he can't see the harvesters, so Spectre just pulls back. He's like, hey, Can't see the harvesters. No point pursuing Technique's army when he just have the advantage in the tree. How does Technique getting so much tanks? He's got double war factory. He's got no MCV. He's finally finished that Tiberium, so I'm not sure what he's going to do. Looks like Spectre is coming around here. Not Spectre, Technique is moving around. He's trying to shoot them while they're docked, because obviously they're not stealth while they're docked. And he's trying to hurt Spectre, but the longer Spectre stays here, the more money he's going to rake in. The blue Tiberium is fully grown and no one's touched it. Technique does hold one spike, but it's not very beneficial at this stage in the game. I mean, he needs, if he had it for longer. And it looks like these guys are going to engage. There's a few fanatics trying to run through, and no, they don't get anywhere. Unfortunately, not being able to make much of an impact in this game. And it looks like Technique is somehow be able to push these guys back. There's a double war factory. There's a tech center down. Oh, Spectre sells out one of his war factories, and Technique's going to see that, and he's going to go, hey, he's selling up his war factory. Why would he do that if he's trying to outscore me? But he's losing tanks now. He's got the Raider buggies here. And Spectre desperately trying to hold on. How does he get this many tanks? He's got no Tiberium under his control. And there we go, selling off another refinery, selling off the... Oh, he's got a Tib Chem plant. He's looking for a devastating Tib vein here. He's going to try to lure him across the Tiberium. You know what? Oh no, Technique! Oh, he needs to stay away from the Tiberium, because Spectre is going to drop that on him, and that will annihilate his entire... And look how many Scorpion tanks are right here. That is a huge... Both sides have a huge... Look at the tank tracks over the ground here. Both sides have massive armies of Scorpion tanks here. And Spectre, I think he should definitely fall back to his base head here, because he shouldn't be aggressive, because he has less tanks. And look at that. Look at all the units here by Technique. He's got so many units here, and that MCV is going to go down so fast. He's going to have to sell it up, or else he's going to just lose it. He should have just sold it and got the 1750, but he hasn't. And he's gone around the Tiberium field, and the Tib Chem plant is going to go down. Oh no. That is devastating. We've got a beacon coming in there. Oh man, this is going to be huge. Look at all the tanks that go down to that Tib Vapor Bomb there. Look at all the destruction on the ground, the fire and the wreckage as these guys fight it out. But it looks like Technique has still got more units here. How's he doing this? This is one of those games where you're just like, how is he doing this? He's got more tanks. The reinforcements they have actually stopped for Technique. He's obviously feeling the pressure of having really no Tiberium, but Spectre has been crushed. There's one avatar coming out. He's still fighting. He has almost no buildings anywhere. If he stays around, all his harvesters are just getting destroyed now. And that one avatar is going to get completely overwhelmed. Oh no. And with no MCV. Oh man, he should have stayed in between the two buildings, trying to maybe crush. And there's a heroic Scorpion tank there for Technique. Oh, how did he get that? And Spectre, I think, is out of production structures. And that is going to be game. So, oh man, you haven't ever seen massive Scorpion fights like that. That is one of the biggest Scorpion fights you will ever see. And that's why it was in the top 10 of 2010. Oh man, that was epic. That was unreal. Alright, let's go to the stats. And by the way, guys, I know a lot of people don't watch this, but the music is listed after the stats. So if you want to see the music, I should have said that at the start of the VOD, because people are still asking me about the music. I do list the music at the end of the video, so just skip to that. Scorpion tank, no doubt, favourite unit by both sides. 129,613 to Spectre, 106,237 for Technique. So Spectre got $23,000 more, which is quite significant. I mean, it was a 16.5-minute game, but really, you would have thought he would have had more Scorpion tanks, and he did at the start, but ultimately, Technique just did nothing but build Scorpion tanks towards the end there, and he did sell up, and he needed to win right then and there, which he did manage to do after a little bit of a delay there. But Spectre did have to spend money on expanding his economy. He did spend money on his tech. Maybe he shouldn't have done that. Maybe he should have gone for laser capacitors a bit sooner and continued up the Scorpion tanks, because he would have won if he had laser capacitors, even if he was at a deficit, I'd imagine there. But he made those decisions. They seemed quite right at the time. But Technique, there was no way anyone could anticipate how Technique was just going to balloon out like that with the units. He actually created more, 125, considering he almost had no infantry that game, and Spectre had infantry there. So it would be interesting to see who made the more Scorpion tanks in that game. I would imagine Technique, but like I said at the start, Spectre probably had more. Spectre also lost 50 structures, and he created 47 to Technique's 31, so there goes some of the money. He had 16 more buildings than Technique, so he had to spend money on those 16 extra buildings, and that's probably where some of that $23,000 went. Structures destroyed, very low for both sides, so you can see the sold is pretty high, 30 for Spectre and 14 for Technique, so he sold off most of his structures there. 1.21 to Spectre, so he had a better kill death ratio, to 0.76 to Technique. That's unusual. I thought Technique would have had more, because Spectre had infantry, but that was yeah, that was unreal. Look at the units here. We can see that Technique was actually always ahead almost the entire game, except for the 8-9 minute mark here, and that's where Spectre was in the bottom left pressuring Technique, and then Technique just decided to go all in and just somehow made it work. You can see there's a massive battle here where Technique lost a lot of units here. He did lose a lot. Maybe a lot of that was infantry. but as you can see, he was always ahead of Spectre by a lot. And then the final battle, both sides just completely sacked their armies, and that Tib Vapor Bomb helped Spectre, but it wasn't enough. I bet he was looking for the Tib Vane, but it just never happened. Technique must have been suspicious, and he went around it. Structures, you won't see it get much lower than that. It looks like Spectre was operating with about 10 or 11, 12 structures the whole game, and Technique was operating with about 6 on average the whole game, so there you go. Very low there. Resources, wow, Spectre, he definitely crawled out after the 5-minute mark and just stayed ahead, but again, nobody touched the blue field. If Spectre had sent some harvesters to the blue field, they would have never been attacked by Technique, because Technique focused solely on the center expansion. Spectre could have leashed with 3 to 4 harvesters and cleaned that blue field, and that would have given him a massive amount of money where he could have won that battle. But again, he made the decisions that he thought were going to win the game, and he went for the center, and he believed he could defend it. But Technique, just a stunning recovery there and victory there, and both players must be extremely happy with that game, and I think they were at the time, and that definitely made a great game for the top 10 of 2010. I've said that way too many times now. Anyway, I'm Green Zero. I hope you all enjoyed that VOD, and I will see you all next time.